Welcome! Have you ever met someone who just commands a room without even trying? They're not loud, they're not flashy, but there's this quiet gravity about them. Well, today, we're diving deep into a concept from the Arreqqana Doctrine that explains this exact thing. It's called soul swagger, the art of unforced presence.
I mean, this line just perfectly captures it, doesn't it? It's that feeling, that presence that literally precedes you. It's an energy that people feel before they even see or hear you. So, where does this whole idea come from? Well, the ceremonial name for this presence is Qhiyarra, and that roughly translates to the standing of the true soul. Understanding its origin, its original name, really helps us get to the heart of what this is all about. At its core, soul swagger is basically the outside world seeing your inside world, being in total harmony. It's not a performance, it's not something you put on like a jacket, it's just the natural result of knowing exactly who you are without any need to prove it or explain it. It's your identity, carried without any effort at all. So let's be super clear about what this is not. It's got nothing to do with being loud or trying to dominate a conversation or having cool style. And it is definitely not about ego. What it is inner coherence, a real self-possession, and a kind of moral steadiness. It's a presence that's simply felt, never announced. Now this brings us to a really crucial distinction. We've all seen big egos in action, right? But that's just noise. True presence? That's a clear signal. So how on earth do we tell the difference? And that really is the critical question. It is so easy to mistake a huge ego for true presence. But they come from completely different places, and honestly, they have completely different effects on everyone around you. Okay, this breakdown just lays it all out so clearly. You see, soul swagger comes from inside, from inner alignment. Ego, on the other hand, needs validation from the outside world, and the energy is totally different, right? One is calm and grounded, the other is loud and kind of desperate. But look at how they handle rejection. Soul swagger stays steady. Ego gets defensive. It's really the difference between attracting people and pushing them away. This doctrinal line just says it all. Ego is desperate for an audience. It's always performing, always looking for attention. A centered soul doesn't have to try. It just is. It allows others to recognize it for what it truly is. So, if this presence isn't announced, how is it actually perceived by other people? Well, it's all about reading the unspoken signals. People with this kind of presence have these really subtle but powerful cues. There's a stillness to them, They're comfortable with silence. They don't rush to fill every single gap. There's a gravity. Conversations and energy just seem to naturally orient toward them. They have clear boundaries because they're not chasing attention, and there's a deep, deep integrity. Their words and their actions are always lined up. And the feedback they get from others really reflects this. People don't say, "Wow, you're so confident." They say things that point to a much deeper quality. You feel solid. You make the room calmer. That feeling of unexplainable trust, that's someone responding to the clarity of your soul's signal. And that is the foundation of any real, meaningful relationship. Of course, like any powerful quality, this presence can get distorted or imbalanced. So what happens when that inner alignment starts to waver? Well, that's when we get into what the doctrine calls shadow forms. Now, these aren't moral failures or anything like that. They're just states of imbalance. You've got stone swagger, where that calm turns into emotional numbness. Crown swagger, which is a kind of spiritual superiority. Ghost swagger, which uses withdraw as a manipulative tactic. And mirror swagger, which is basically just borrowing someone else's confident vibe without doing any of the inner work. So this raises the most important question, right? If this is a state of being, how do we actually cultivate it? This is where we shift from theory to practice. The goal here is to quiet the ego so our true presence has the space to emerge. So here are 5 really powerful exercises to help strip away that false confidence. For example, the silence test challenges that urge you have to perform in quiet moments. The no explanation drill helps you state a boundary without feeling like you have to justify it to everyone else. The others, like practicing a delayed response, doing good when no one's watching, and leaving a room without any drama, they all work to strengthen your core and loosen the ego's grip. And how do you know if it's actually working? The ultimate sign is this huge internal shift. When you no longer feel that need to be picked, to be validated, to basically audition for a role in someone else's life, that's when you know your own presence is becoming your anchor. So, let's talk about the real-world impact of all this. Having this quality fundamentally changes how you operate, not just as a leader, but in all of your relationships.
This just brilliantly illustrates the difference between dominance and real leadership. Leaders with this quality don't feel the need to speak first. They listen, they absorb, and then, when they do speak, their words have weight. They make clean decisions, and they take responsibility quietly. Ultimately, people trust them with responsibility. They don't have to go chasing the spotlight.
Okay, here is a fascinating side effect of developing this quality. Your social circle might actually change. People who thrive on drama, on chaos, or on feeding off other people's energy, they will naturally be repelled by your calm, grounded presence. And it's so important to remember, this is not a loss. It is a form of protection.
Let's end with a simple, really practical tool you can use every single day to anchor yourself in this state of being.
The mantra is so simple, but it is incredibly powerful. In Arreqqana, it's La Qhiyarra, La Sakar, La Doric, and that translates to, I am true, I wait, I stand. It's a declaration of your authenticity, a commitment to patience over urgency, and a recognition of your own solid ground.
And we'll end with this final thought, which really reframes this entire concept. Soul swagger isn't about becoming more of something, it's about letting go of what's false, the urgency, the performance, the neediness, and revealing the powerful, authentic presence that was there all along. So I'll leave you with this question. What would remain in you if all your false urgency just disappeared?